Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Victorious 89.1 WAKP. Your unity in the community station.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
One by One Kia full range of products embodies fundamental nutrients necessary to maintain beautiful and healthy hair care without having to combine an assortment of hair care products. The One by One Kia products are designed to rejuvenate, moisturize, create shine, fortify, and stimulate hair growth while leaving your hair feeling weightless and luxurious. Be sure to visit our website at www.onebywankaya.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at One by One Kia. Let's get your healthy hair care journey started today. The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson Firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson Firm can be reached at 470-499-4704.
If it makes sense, we have to go and do it,
Yeah, hear what I man say. Right now. For each and every day I say, oh people now, here I say, freedom, Rasta people them, freedom, African people, freedom, the original people, they can find your body, but they don't control your mind. So free up your mind, oh people now.
It's all about the Reasoning Thursdays, each and every Thursdays, but right here on Powerhouse Radio. It is truly the Lady D, Mama Asid, and the Respecta. Well, welcome to each and every one. If this is your first time joining us, so we want to say welcome to you, and I hope it won't be your last. And yes, in the process of the program, we do open the lines and have you all to call in. It's 706-955-2001. All righty, so we'll tell you when that to call in when the lines are open. Well, we definitely have a guest that's going to be with us today. Mrs. Emma Walker is going to be on the program with us, and we're going to be touching topics of mental health is one of the topics that we're going to be touching. What are we eating is another topic in the mix that we're going to digital currency. What you think about that? We're definitely going to hit that up as well. And hmm, what is this immigration buzz that is going on in Florida? Yeah, we're going to be talking about that as well. So don't you all go anywhere. Travel warning in Jamaica. Big things in Agwan. So definitely keep it locked. Don't go anywhere. Vibes with us. Share the links. Go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and when you're listening in, just press that like button as well. So you got us through a whole bunch of different areas today, right? You got us on YouTube, you have us on Instagram, Facebook, and also on our regular outlets of www.dapowerhouseradio.com. Also on your telephone lines at 667-930-9036. And if you have the TuneIn app, definitely check us out on the TuneIn app. And also, we want to big up our next outlet, which is Victorious Radio 89.1 FM via their airwaves and also on the internet. So we just want to say big up to them as well. Well, I'm telling you, it is a fantabulous rainy day in the Georgia area. And definitely have to let your other hosts send their greetings out to you. So the Respecta, what a going, my brother? How you doing?
Wonderful.
You're doing
Just
wonderful.
want to wish them joyful happiness. Thanks for joining us. And I hope your life every day from now on will prosper us.
All right, all right. Queen, what's going on?
I'm here, I'm healthy, and I'm so happy to be back. And Lady D, I got some things to let you all know about what's going on in Jamaica in terms of this increase that they have in salaries for these folks that I don't know what they're doing, but go on.
Well, we definitely want to hear that. Mama Acid, what's a going? Acid, I'm not hearing you.
Is she muted?
No, she's not mute. Mama Acid. Well, all right. I know she may be there trying to talk up a storm, and we're not hearing her.
Giving her, yeah.
She disconnects, so she's going to be calling in, I assume. So we'll see if she calls in as well. All right. Well, big ups to each and every one. We want to, thank you all once again for joining us right here on let me mute this on Reasoning Thursdays, each and every Thursdays. Well, we have some hot topics and trying to figure out where we're gonna start.
Let
Where we
Mama Acid say hello.
I think yeah, I got you. We hear you loud and clear now, my sister. We hear you loud.
I
So,
know, man. It's like the universe be trying to make me take a minute before I join y'all. It's like I'm being punished.
well, are you being punished? Were you a bad girl? Why
I'm a
you?
bad gal. So what y'all want me to just admit? I'm a
Yeah.
bad gal. Okay, I'm a bad gal. Yeah, I'm a bad gal.
All right. Well, bad girl, Asid. Well, you know what? Before we even we go into it, Mama Acid. Um,
Yep.
sometime I periodically will have you to give the definition of your name because I don't think a lot of people know what ASID stands for.
Okay, it is an acronym. It means anti slackness, intellectual development. Now, you want me to tell them how I got that name?
Yeah, real as brief as possible. Very brief
Okay,
because we have a full show here and we also
I
have a guest.
I am the first empress and the first woman who is in control of a fully male legacy sound system that was formerly known as Cincy High Power. And then they became, after they grew a little bit, became Ragamuffin, and then Ragamuffin grew into Asid because we took up a new mantle of anti-slackness and intellectual development because we knew that the world needed more. So we decided we would step up and we would give more. And the men said, maybe we should give a woman a chance because, of course, being around all that time, they knew all of the women who were running souls and who were running sound systems were not just more popular because we are more popular than the men, and I'm going to say it because I think that we listen more to what it is that people want to hear. So Asid is a worldwide phenomenon, anti-slackness, intellectual development.
All right.
Oh,
Well, sometimes I feel the need to have to make sure that our listeners, because when you say Mama Acid, you know, um, when you say acid, everyone think it's ACID, like the acid, and they're
mhm.
not. It's spelled differently. You know what I mean? ASID. Okay, so that's what it means. Anti-slackness, intellectual development. All right. Okay, so we're figuring out where we're starting first. Now we have a Queen says that she has some information for us in regards to salary increase in Jamaica. I know that is most definitely the I know that is the biggest topic right now that's going on in Jamaica. And
Yes,
how
And America and on Twitter.
everywhere, everywhere,
everywhere.
everywhere,
And I
everywhere.
have some juicy stuff.
And Queen says she has some juicy stuff. We all
Yeah.
Well, real quick, we could tap into it real quick. As I announced earlier, we have several, oh my goodness. Yeah, we have several other things. We have Miss Emma's coming in. Miss Emma Walker is going to be on talking in regards to mental health and her book. So, Lord, I don't have the name of the book in front of me. In regards to her book, we're going to also be travel. We're going to talk about the travel warning. Not that that's anything quite new, but it is something quite new.
We got to talk
Okay?
about that because
We
y'all
have
can't
to
go to
talk.
my house in Buckfield.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to be talking about what we're eating and really knowing
Mhm.
about what we're eating. And we're also going to be talking about this digital currency. Yeah. And this new immigration situation that's going on in Florida with Governor DeSantos and so on. And I'm going to play one and two little
And
clips.
touch on the UIC lady.
Okay. UIC. All right.
Yeah, we got to touch a little bit on the UIC because that intertwined also with the increase in the salaries.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, just for public announcements, there was this text that was going around. Someone sent it to me in regards to ammonia being in our ground beef. I've
Mhm.
always heard all sorts of things about ground beef. That's why most of the time I go and I get the chuck steak, and then I have the chuck steak to be grounded. But I've been a little bit lazy and I've been buying one and two of the packages, the ground beef packages, instead of grounding my chuck. Okay, instead of grounding my chuck beef. So there's a lot of things that are being put into the food, and I feel that persons really need to pay attention to what you all
Mhm.
are eating. I know we can't grow um everything, but this is something here.
The ground beef a lot of us buy at the supermarket. Is it what we think it is?
Gerald Zernstein grinds his own hamburger these days. Why? Because this former USDA scientist, now whistleblower, knows that 70% of the ground beef we buy at the supermarket contains something he calls pink slime. Beef trimmings that were once used only in dog food and cooking oil, now sprayed with ammonia to make them safe to eat, and then added to most ground beef as a cheaper filler.
It's not fresh ground beef.
Zernstein and his fellow USDA scientist Carl Custer both warned against using what the industry calls lean, finely textured beef.
A whistleblower has come forward to tell consumers about the ground beef a lot of us buy at the supermarket.
All righty. So that is what they're saying in regards to the ground beef. that we're buying in the supermarket. So it's a good thing, and I just thought it's a public announcement that should be made, that we need to, and I don't think this is something new, because I think a couple of years ago I think I saw something in regards to it before.
Lady D,
Yes.
McDonald's uses that same pink slime to make
Yeah.
their products too. They also use it in the chicken. They do it as a preservative, and sometimes they also irradiate it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is used as a preservative because I was looking about that in the trying to find information on that, and that's what they did say, that it was used as a preservative.
Okay. Okay. Well, we definitely do not. We I don't eat McDonald's, so I mean we just have to be mindful of really what we're eating. You know,
Hmm.
um, especially checking where a lot of these processed foods are coming from. You know,
Yeah,
um,
and even lady, even the food that they said are organic, you still have to be careful of that. They have different grades of it being organic. You have from grade 1 all the way to grade 5. And I didn't even know that till the other day. I found out where it's supposed to be listed on the packet what grade it is, and the higher the grade is, the better it is for you. um and I guess the more natural that it is. But there are things out there that are saying organic, that are not really organic, and even if they're organic, they have some form of pesticide inside of them. So you definitely have to be careful, not just the meat and the fish and all of that, but even the vegetables and fruits that you purchase, you still have to be careful of those also. Because like Lady D said, I would rather spend an extra $2 for it to be safe than not to be.
yes, full hundred on that, right there. So that was just a public announcement for each and everyone. Um, well, let's dive right into I'm wondering, we should, it's 8:30. I think we should bring on Miss Emma Walker. And
Yes, because she's usually an early person.
yes,
Yeah.
let's bring on Miss Walker on the line. Acid, preview me to the name of the.
Depression no more.
Okay, so we do have Miss Emma that is joining us. Greeting, Miss Emma. How are you doing?
Good evening, everyone. I'm doing great. How's everyone on the line today?
Oh, great, Miss Emma.
Hey
Thanks for
there, Miss
coming.
Emma.
And thank you, Lady Acid, for explaining your name because I was wondering about it myself. Uh, so that was a real good analysis you gave on it. And thank you, Lady D, for inviting me on the program today.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Um, about your book. Let's
Okay.
let's get the full name of your book, and how long ago you wrote your book, and where can the listening audience buy your book, and then we'll go into the book.
Okay. Okay. So the book title is Depression No More. And I wrote this book back in 2012 after experiencing a nervous breakdown from depression. And at that time, after going through that whole situation, a book came out of it. So that book was written in 2012 and it was published by Author House. And so you can purchase it through Author House or you can do it through my email, which is Emma Walker 1228 at gmail.com, and send me a subject in the subject matter, put order book, and then I'll contact you and be able to give you a printed copy at a discounted price if you order it directly from me.
All right, all right, and do be sure to let Miss Walker know that you've heard it through Reasoning Thursdays on the Powerhouse Radio. Well, welcome once again. your book. I know you said that you were going through a form of depression.
Uh,
Um,
yes,
yeah, and that's the purpose of the book, correct?
that's correct, Lady D. For the early part of my years, like my early 20s, I was dealing with depression, but unfortunately, I didn't know what it was, honestly. You know, being in the African American community, we don't really talk about depression. And so for me, it was just of me knowing that something wasn't right. I was always feeling down. I was always feeling like life was hopeless, even to the point where I had considered suicide a couple of times in my 20s. So finally, it got to the point, once I had my son, I realized I had to get a grip on this and figure out what was going on with me. And it was at that point that I began to go into support groups, counseling. A lot of it was on my spiritual journey through prayer that I began to come out of that mode.
Mm.
So it was years of going through depression. Once I had my son, and shout out to my son, I hope he's listening on the line. Actually, God used him to be the stepping stone for me to stop and
Mm.
pay attention to the signs, because at that point I knew I had a child as a single person, single mom, that I had to be responsible for raising my son. So it was at that point that I had to seek out help. So I'm here to talk about mental health because later on I learned that there was a history of mental health in my family.
Mm.
My mother had dealt with it for years, but as I mentioned, in the African community, a lot of times it's a thing of pride. It's a thing of don't let nobody know. I remember when I first wrote my book and I tried to do book signings in the Black community, I would get no response at all. And
Yeah.
it was during those times that I said, I got to find out who is my audience.
Mm.
In my discovery of that, I found out that my audience wasn't the Black community, because we wear masks and we don't want anyone to know that we're dealing with this. When I was going through it, people would say, "Oh, you're okay. Shake it off. Shake it off." I couldn't shake it off. I mean, I was on medication for a while. For a while I was on medication to try to deal with it. And if anybody is on medication, I would encourage you to stay on it until you're advised by your doctor to not be on it. Because people, when they're on medication and they get off, that's another area of a problem too. You can't just jump off a medication, especially if
Mm.
you have a severe case. Now, mine wasn't a severe case,
Mm.
but it took years of work. And you have to have a determination that you want to rise above that. And that's where I was. Once I had my son and I realized I had an obligation to raise him, that's when I began to seek out help through
Mm.
counseling, support groups, lots of prayer, with lots of spirituality that got me through. But the point is, you have to want, first, you got to recognize that there's a problem. You got to first admit something's wrong here and I have to do something about this. And the problem is, a lot of times people are walking around with masks, they're hiding, they're ignoring the reality that something is not right.
Okay. You know, it was so it's so ironic when you started out and you were saying in regards to shake it off, because that's something that a lot of, I feel like, us African American melanated skin people, we're so strong, so in I feel in our minds, to concede, to say I'm depressed or I have mental situations going on, it may feel taboo. So I understand where you may say, when you say, oh, we're taught to shake it off, or you shake it off, when there's no shaking off. So
Exactly.
it's a matter of not shaking it off, but I guess deal with it.
And
Head.
it's even more, Lady D, if you're a person that's strong, like I'm a strong person. So when this happened, no one can believe that it was depression, because I've been carrying and handling things, but everybody has a breaking point in life. That's the reality. We
Yeah.
all have a breaking point, and you got to know when you hit that breaking point, you got to reach out and get the help that you need so it don't turn into what we're seeing now with these issues with guns out here. Because it's all about dealing with the issue, talking about it, getting the help you need, and moving forward with your life and knowing that there's hope beyond the situation.
Okay, okay.
And sometimes things happen in our lives and we just kind of shrug it off, not understanding that inner it's still embedded inside of us, and if it's not taken care of, and if we don't get the help that we need, then it can fester and it can trigger into something else other than that little depression. It
And
can get deeper and even more detrimental to us,
Not to us,
because
that's
yes,
around us.
the other day I saw my doctor. I had a couple of family members that passed suddenly within the COVID area and
okay,
the COVID era, and now. And I never thought of it. And the other day, my doctor was talking to me, and I started. She was asking me if everything is okay with me. So I was telling her yes, and I said, well, I had to go to my aunt's funeral, and I was telling her how dear my aunt was to me. But then all of a sudden, everything else came up, my sister, my brother, my mother, my father. And we end up talking for about half an hour. Her and I sat there and she was talking with me. And I said to her, I never knew that it affected me that deeply, because I cried for a minute and then it was over with. But I didn't know it was internally, that it was down, deep down in there. And I was feeling that pain inside. But just talking to her for those 30 minutes helped me a whole lot. And she said, really, I could recommend you to a counselor. So I said to her, I said, no, I don't need that. And again, here comes that stigma where we said, oh, we
yes,
are black, we
yes,
are strong, we don't
yes.
need that help. And I do understand, Miss Emma, what you went through and how you felt.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's so important that we pay attention to our loved ones, especially if they've gone through something traumatic. Check in with them, because these things can get escalated. And just as Queenie just said, all of that just came out with a simple conversation of her
Mm-hmm.
doctor saying, are you okay? And then all that, it's like she started bleeding from
Yes.
internally out. She just bleeded out at that point. And it's so
Mm-hmm.
important that we check in. One thing we do, I live in a community where there's a lot of seniors and we live by ourselves. And during the COVID, that was a very difficult time, being cooped up in the house day after day after day, not being able to interact with your family. I almost slipped back into depression. I had to read my book back to myself in 2020. I had to read it back to myself. And one of the tools that I have in the toolbox in the book that always help me when I'm feeling like I'm getting ready to slide down that hill is I exercise. When you
Mm.
exercise, it releases endorphins in your body that allows you to begin to think positive. So whenever I feel myself getting ready to slide down that slippery slope, I exercise. And what happens as you're exercising, you get rejuvenated, you get recharged, you get a perspective. Okay, I need to get back on course. That's what it did for me. And in my book, there's a section in the back that is a toolbox. And what it is the different things that help me to get out of depression and to stay out of depression, because that is my goal. Because I always tell people, when you're in depression for long periods of time, you lose days out of your life. You can't get those days back.
Mm.
So the quicker you get out of it, the quicker you get healed from it, the sooner you'll get your life back. So that's what I'm always striving for. When something major happens in my life, a death, the pandemic, whatever, I know I got to pull out my toolbox in my book and I got to use some of those tools to make sure I'm not sliding down that slippery slope, going back into depression, because I came too far to go back and I'm not going back.
Yeah,
Amen.
I hear you.
Mama
Um,
Acid, what's
yeah.
do you want to chime in?
Mm.
Unmute yourself, Acid.
I'm sorry, I had me muted. You're right. I wanted to just ask a little bit about the problem that a lot of us are experiencing on a daily basis that many of us don't understand, and that's microaggressiveness, like with these Karens and other people who are just so disrespectful and thoughtless. Reason I'm asking, I was at the nursery right before the show to pick up some bags of peat and also cow manure, and it's 40 pounds a bag. That is a heavy bag for a
Yes.
little woman. And the man who was handling the cow manure said to me, you were nice when you asked. He said, a lot of people, they just come over here and they just say, put that in my car. And he said, no, you said, which can I please get? And I did. I said to him, I paid for cow manure and peat moss. May I please get you to load it into my car? And he said, no problem. He said, I'll be glad to load it for you. Just open the door. And so the very fact that he took a minute to say to me that a lot of people don't say thank you, they don't say please, they're just aggressive.
Absolutely
They
right.
just immediately just go right into it. So Miss Emma, one of the questions I have is about this aggressiveness and this microaggressiveness as we sometimes see it, but it also actually formats itself into our relationships when we start allowing people to make a habit of treating us this way and not providing us with any type of a respect. It's a very unhealthy mental health tactic. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about ways
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Hello?
Mama Acid dropped. I don't know what happened with her. I
She
heard it.
dropped the mic.
Yeah, she dropped. the
That's a good one.
mic. She
That's
sure
a good one. She dropped the mic.
dropped the mic. But and I know she wants to hear your answer. So
Yes.
let's trickle over until Mama Acid signs back in. Let's trickle over to the Respecta. The Respecta, did you have any insights or any questions that you may want to ask Miss Walker in regards to mental health, depression, and her book and how she came out of depression?
Yes. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
And we in unity on mental situations because it's a hurtful thing for those who care to see what's going on in society and want to do something and can't do it. Um, to know that we take our loved ones for granted, we don't love on them like we're supposed to. We don't take time to try and figure out what their moods are. Um, it's sad that people become selfish, that they don't have time. Even a baby, and government plays a big part, but church should play a bigger part. And I'm really disappointed because what's going on in church is not what's supposed to be going on. We're supposed to be paying attention to people, people who are reaching out and not being heard or seen. And then when we hear something bad happen, that's when we start to act like, why no one said anything to me when you already know what was going on with that person. But we play these games with each other, pretending that we care. And it's sad that, I keep saying, put the I on love you. I love you. But it's so easy now, just everybody's a routine. Love you, love you. It doesn't mean anything to me when someone says love you. Without the I, it doesn't register. And a lot of young people are going through more than they should be going through with this mental thing. And it's leading to murder.
Hmm.
And it can be stopped. It can be slowed down. If somebody keep reaching out to government, even though government already know what's going on. I also believe that what they put in the drinks and the smoke could be a design to get these young people into those conditions. So that's my take on it. I have a lot more to say, but let me stop right there.
Hmm.
All right, Mama
Miss Emma,
Acid is back.
Miss
Go ahead,
Miss
Acid. Complete.
Miss Emma, I'm sorry I got cut off.
Okay, okay.
So the microaggressiveness, I'm wondering, how do you see that? And also, I have one case where I wondered if you wouldn't mind thinking about how it worked in this case. There was a kid last week in New Mexico who literally a kid, literally 15 years old, in their house had multiple multiple amounts of, I mean, just crazy amounts of ammunition and automatic weapons. They had an AR-15 and they just started shooting people. The first three people they shot were three old ladies on the
Yeah,
block that they didn't
I
even
heard.
know.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I'm just curious because this person didn't have any interactions with any of these people that they shot. They just ran downstairs, ran out the door, and just started shooting people for no reason. That's beyond microaggressive. And I think that some of that is from society saying it's okay to be this way because they've just given them permission to be this way. So that's what I'm curious about, Miss Emma. How do you handle that type of microaggressiveness when you experiencing it on a daily basis?
Well, I'm not an expert in the area of mental health. I can only speak in the area of depression that I dealt with. And one of the areas when I was dealing with, after I had finished my journey, what I feel is the problem nowadays, a lot of these kids are not getting the chance to talk out what's going on with them. Years ago, after I was delivered from my depression, I started doing support groups for boys 8 to 10. And the reason why I chose that age group is I wanted to capture them and get them to learn how to talk about their anger instead of acting it out. And for years I did those support groups. And now a lot of those boys are grown up. They're police officers. They're now in their 30s that I was doing these support groups for. And the support groups were good because it would allow them to talk about their feelings in a safe environment. Children are not being given that chance. They're in front of these electronics. They're not going outside and playing. They're pulling up all these videos. They're seeing how to do things, and they're not being able to talk out what's really going on inside of them. And that's where these weapons have now manifested. First of all, why are all those weapons in that home? Why why are all the weapons in the home where a child has access to those weapons? That's the first thing we need to deal with is why the weapons are even accessible to these kids.
Yeah.
And
We
why they're dealing with their anger issues.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes. We have a question. Who do these kids live with? Mom, dad, both parents? I also want to say big shouts to Donna Moody checking in. She says good night to all. Conrad, big up yourself, Smiles, Crank It, and big up yourself, Bill, all of the New Yorkers. Blessings to you. Thanks for checking in. But yeah, that's a
I'd like
question.
to address that. I see that question, Lady D.
Yeah.
Now, when I was doing a support group years ago, I would say 90% of the boys that were in my group were from single family homes. Okay, the fathers was not in the home. And I'm quite sure that number is a little higher nowadays, especially in the African American community. Okay, so that's part of the problem too, because boys need their fathers. And I remember as a single mom who my son's father pretty much just turned away from him, I immediately put male mentors into his life, four male mentors. So that when by the time he became a teenager, he had built a relationship where he could talk to these men about man things that he couldn't talk to me as a woman. And that is missing so much in our society that these boys don't have anybody to talk to learn about manhood, because there so many of them are in a single family home with a mother, and the school system is plagued with women. They're tired of hearing the female's voice. They need interaction with positive men that are doing positive things within their community that can teach them and help mold them into respectable men in society. And that's what's missing.
I think that the one of my thoughts as to what's going on in society right now, it is the lack of the village. There
Yes.
is in growing
Yes.
up in my time, we went off of the village.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone knew everyone. The
Absolutely.
was instilled in the children from we were young that we must have respect, you know, for our elders. That if there is an issue with an elder, we take it to our parents so that our parents can deal with the situation. There's no fear, there's no community for our children to go through to when we even when some persons are single parent, because it's not just women that alone that raise children. You have some men that are in the that are raising their children as well on their own. So I think that family and community is a big lack that we have, because everyone at this time is minding their own business. Uh,
Hmm.
no one wants to offend another or step on anyone's toes, and everyone is so touchy feely at this point. That's why, in some ways, as well, I even feel like there is something in the air, there is something in the food, you know,
That was mute.
there, you know, there is some type of encryption or something on these computers that are drawing our children. Um,
Yeah.
it's for me, it's a lot
Not
of faucets in regards to mental health.
not just that, lady, but remember, years ago we had programs. We had Luciana Sanders here in Georgia. We had
There's no
the
out.
Winning Circle in New York. We had Operation Open End and all these programs. And these programs were not just geared towards going on field trip, but you had discussions, you had round tables, you had time where
Yes.
you would sit in groups and you would talk about different situations, or or even some of what's happening in school, or what your expectations are, and all of these things were done. But now there are no program. The fundings
Exactly.
are not there for the children.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
And
it's it's
and
true.
and
It's true.
can
And
I
then
say this?
yeah, go ahead, the respecter.
All that you guys are saying is I think based on the churches. The churches are the real group of people that should be in the communities helping our children. But they're not doing that. They're too focused on the wrong things. Government is definitely not going to do it. And a single mother, God help her. It's very, very sad. And the fathers who don't want to be fathers and walk away, you know, I don't understand why God don't do what He need to do with some of these people, because it's time. You got to stop
On that.
talking and talking, and I'm sure somebody is hearing that can make a change in their community, but they're not going to do it. I was at a college not too long ago, and two young girls in the food section, the deli section, pretending that they're coughing loud all over the place, people backing up, and the mother just ignoring. And when I draw attention to it, I said, "Y'all stop that." The mother jumped on me, to my kids, and I had to address her right then, let her know that she's one of the problems in our communities,
Yeah, we have
because she should have stopped those kids from pretending that they have something and coughing all over the food.
okay, we have two
And
comments.
I had one female that came in, or that was many people that were standing around to tell me that I did the right thing and thank you. So it's a whole bunch of village people that's going to stand by and do nothing.
Okay, we have two comments. DJ Smile said kids are less likely to go to jail if they are raised by their dad. Check the stats. And Bill says church don't make babies. Acid, you want to address these two comments, or what either or comments?
Well, that one about church don't make babies, that depends upon which church you're going to. And we're not going to get into that tonight because we've already been there.
Acid,
And
you got to
and
turn
it's
down
not
the radio in the back.
well,
Acid,
okay.
turn your radio down in the back. Okay.
I think sometimes we just don't understand that the leadership around us has a responsibility to respond to us, not just when they see good things, but also when they see bad things. And that statement about the church doesn't make babies, okay, let me take that one. I like that one. Um, I think that the respecter should take the other one about the father in the home. So this one, I want to just be kind of blunt about it. We've been talking about some things that some churches have been doing. We've been talking about churches and sexuality for a while. We've been talking about churches and all of their bad manners because there are a lot of bad manners in church. Just last week, when we were discussing the way they were treating Lady Saw, and I brought to the table the very fact that Kevin Smith was standing up there singing. Singing a dance hall song in his church, and the people were applauding and clapping, talking about me gonna be hot this year. What them gonna do for hold me? Come on now, preacher. Why are you saying that? Okay, we understand that the church is supposed to be part of the root and the spirit of not just the family and the community. Oh my God.
She got cut off again.
No, I'm
No,
here.
Oh.
He says, okay, it works like this. If I come to your church and at your church, they say all of the women have to wear a white dress. They have to wear their dresses down to their ankles. They have to wear a hat on their heads all the time. And they cannot wear makeup or jewelry or nail polish or any of that type of stuff. And the men can do what they want to do. So when you leave the church and you go out in the world, what differentiates you as a woman without all the stuff on from the rest of the women? Your attitude. It's not about what you wear, it's about how you behave and your morals. And if no one moralistically tells you do or don't do, then there's a problem. Because just like it was just suggested that the village is the way to be able to handle a lot of these problems, there are some people who don't want to consider themselves a part of the village, regardless of the fact that we're all in here together. Many people say that they're not a part of the village. They will tell you, in fact, don't add me in that because I ain't got nothing to do with that. My name is Wes. Leave me out of your mess. Okay, I'm saying this because I've recently had to deal with some of this type of stuff, and I've had to deal with it on a personal basis because there are a lot of people who are very hypocritical. And the one thing about hypocrites is that they will come to your house, they will find out which window will cause the most damage, and they will leave your house and come back when they know you're not there and throw a rock through that window, because they have already decided that it will be the most harmful for you. Rather than going to you and saying, hey, I don't like you, or this is what I don't like about you, they won't approach you that way. They'll come at you sideways because they're cowards. Cowards and bullies are the same people. They have no personal strength, they have no personal moral code, and they certainly don't want to be questioned or checked about their BS. But they are the ones who stir up the most BS and who don't ever show up when it's time to be able to confront some of these problems.
thank you, Bill, for joining us. Bill says it's good conversation, but he has a meeting. So blessings and thanks. I definitely have to big up Bill. That's one of my childhood friends, my childhood
Mhm.
actor, from my area. So anytime I see Bill come on, I get excited. Glad for you coming on. Also, DJ Smiles, one of my colleagues and a good brother friend of mine that is also on. And Smile says, moms got to re-counsel and re-therapy their own kids. And Bill says that's why, in regards to the church comment, he says that's why you can expect the churches to help your families out because they don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
That
So
is
when
exactly
when
what he
Mama
wrote.
Acid was speaking, he wrote that as to an answer in regards to what you were saying. But yeah, church does not make babies, and church has its
Can I
good
say,
and church has its bad. Someone was getting ready to say something.
yeah, yeah. I would like to say that is a very ignorant statement
It's
to say
Why?
very.
churches don't make babies. You know,
No,
it's very ignorant to say
no.
because whoever said that, they're really not thinking.
But
Because
the
in the
respecter,
But why would
no,
it be ignorant?
no, it's his opinion. He's entitled
oh,
to his
let me
opinion.
explain.
Okay.
It's my opinion. Well, let me explain. The church, very few church we can say is of God.
Very few
They're
churches is
not
what?
doing what they're supposed to be doing for the community.
Okay. So
And the church, there are some churches like the one I go to that taking refugees, and they have the real kid classes where black and white alike communicate and fellowship together, and they do twice a month luncheon for the whole church, and whites are coming to black house, black is going to white house, and communicating. Kids are playing together without anything to do with color.
okay, I'm gonna
And the
I'm gonna
baby,
interject. I'm gonna interject.
Please.
The respect. I'm gonna interject in regards to um first the statement and then the text. Um, the context. In regards to no any everyone has their own opinion in everything, so I think it's unfair and not right for anyone to say that a person, because they're not seeing things through your eyes, is ignorant. There a person's belief is a person's belief. And I would also chime in and says church does not make babies. Yes, church is there to assist in counseling individuals, but they're not making the babies. You have a mom and you have a dad who should be in that home instilling what a child needs to know, because you have lots of individuals who do not go to church. You have lots of individuals whom do not even believe in Jesus. So it's a person's view on it. It is correct. Churches does not make babies. Yes, they may assist to mold some of the
But
children is taught. It is your responsibility as a father. It is my responsibility as a mother. I feel that is supposed to structure our children. I'm a single mom of four grown adults, and I've had my first child at a very young age. And me, when I had my child, it was stated where I'm going to be a statistic. Oh, she's young, she's going to this, she's going to that, she's not going to. And my in my mind and in my thoughts, okay, I always said that I would never become a statistic and my children would never become a statistic. So therefore, I did the best that I can possibly do with a beat with teaching them discipline, with schooling, with lots of things like that. So it is our responsibility. Yes,
It's
church,
but then the church also has the responsibility of assisting these families.
that
And
is what
maybe
I
if they were more involved, some of these kids they wouldn't be acting the way they're acting.
and that
Mental
is what
health maybe wouldn't be such a great issue if some of them would get involved.
and Queen that is
More
and
involved, I
Queen
should say.
and Queen that is
Yes.
what
Can
that
I
is
can I
what
can
I
I
said.
chime in on that?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Okay, I like to chime in on that because for me, the church was there for me because through the church, I found my village. My
Mm.
village was there to help me raise my son as a single child. From that village, there were support groups that I got involved in, support groups that I put my son in that came through the church. So for me, the church was there for me. We live in a different time now with
Yes.
different mentalities of young people that they don't reach out in the same way that we may have reached out 30, 40 years ago, where our neighbors would let us know when our son or daughter was running up the street, and they would
Yes.
let you know. Nowadays, nobody don't want you to tell
That's
them
right.
nothing about their
That's
children.
right.
We're in a different time. 40 years later, what we were able to do 40 years ago, we're not able to do now. We were 40 years ago, we might have been spanking our kids. Today, a lot of these parents today are not spanking their kids. So we're dealing with a different mindset. Okay. So I would have to say the church has been there for me. It's always been there for me. But a large part of it is because the church is in me. I represent the
Mm,
church. The
that's a
walk that
good
I
one.
have, the spirit that I have represents what the church is about. So it's not just about a building, it's about who you are and what's in you.
And okay.
All
And I
right.
think somebody touched on that a little earlier too, and did say that it's what's within you, but yet still at the same time you need that support. Sometimes some people are not as strong as others, and some folks they need the support. Now people normally don't give all their business out there and tell everybody, but they're more willing to go to the pastor and talk to the pastor and tell the pastor what is going on, and it is the pastor's job to listen to that individual and to find ways in which to assist that individual. But the church are not like it used to be years ago, like you said, Miss Emma. You can't just walk in anymore to a pastor and say, I need help. I need to talk to a priest or I need to talk to a pastor. It's not like it was years ago.
I,
So
I,
they're
I tend to
scared. People
I
are
tend to
scared to
disagree.
approach.
It depends on the church because the church that I'm at now, it
Hmm.
does that. I've been in churches where it wasn't like that. I've been in
Yeah.
churches that was totally against keeping families together. But you have to find the place where you need to be to get what you need for yourself and your family. It
That's
may
true
take
too.
a searching. I can't sit here and stereotype and say all churches are bad. I'm not going to do that because I
Mhm.
know they have been a stronghold in my life and helping me develop to where I am today. It
Okay.
has come through that source.
Okay. On that note, we're just going to do a quick station break. We're going to come back with you, Miss Emma, giving us a little bit of the tools that you've used that's in your book, Depression No More. And yeah, then we would love for you to have the listening audience know where they can go once again,
Okay.
your book and how they can get in contact with you. And then we're gonna get into speaking on in regards to the digital currency. Digital currencies coming up. That's going, happening in Jamaica. We want to talk about immigration and what's going on in Florida. We're going to play a clip on that as well, on what's going on with Florida with the illegal migrants that are there, and persons whom are accompanied by them. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. Just a little millimeter station.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
The Hinkson Firm's mission is to provide superior legal service in the areas of family law, child welfare law, general legal services, and mediation by keeping convenience of the clients at the forefront. The Hinkson Firm's goal is to eliminate the stress of an already intense situation in your life by coming directly to your workplace and or a location close to your home for consultation, meetings, and mediation. The Hinkson firm customized legal attention based on the needs of each client while treating every client with the dignity and respect they deserve, while fighting strongly and fiercely for justice and their legal rights. The Hinkson firm can be reached at 470-499-4704.
All righty, we are back, and we just want to send big shouts to the Victorious Radio 89.1, Dr. J and the crew over there. Big shouts. You choose radio. We want to say big shouts to you all as well. And thanks for checking in and participating. Before we get right to Miss Emma, DJ Smiles had a question. Says, well, a comment. Moms got to recounsel and re-therapy their own kids, which, yeah, it's in that comment right there, Smiles, I also feel that, parents need to try some way to spend more time with their children. But we'll get back into that reasoning. Miss Emma Walker, could you please tell the listening audience a little bit about some of your tools that you've placed in your book Depression No More that assisted you of coming out of that depression?
Okay, so the book is a very
And once
small.
again, you don't have to put all of the tools
Oh,
because
I won't do that because then they
okay,
won't have a
then
reason to buy the book.
all right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so in the toolbox is different things that help me to stay out of depression, and I believe it'll help a lot. But before you get to the toolbox, the beginning of the book is the signs of depression because sometimes people don't know what the signs are. So that's the first thing, is to identify that you are dealing with depression. Okay. Now, three of the tools that I just pulled out that I'm going to share right now from the toolbox is, first of all, you got to ask for help. You got to recognize there's a problem and you got to look and ask for help. Go seek help for the situation and the problem. The second tool that was very successful for me was getting involved in support groups, talking out my feelings, because I came from a background where sharing our feelings was not a popular thing in the house. So everything was being stuffed inside of me. So when you keep stuff stuffed inside, one day it comes out and it's explosive. It could be explosive in words, it could be explosive in actions, etc. So support groups help you to get that out. The third thing that keeps me from slipping back into depression is staying around positive people. Stay away from negative people that always have the negativity, just draws energy out of your body. And if you're constantly exposed to it, you got to get recharged. Okay? You got to get recharged. So those are the three tools that I'm going to give you. Now, on another note, the second book that I wrote is called Get Your Life Back. That book was written in 2017, and that's a collection of different short stories, different situations in your life that could cause you to slip into depression. And at the end of each chapter, there's an encouraging word to encourage you. And there's even a prayer, because sometimes people don't know how to pray. So there's a specific prayer. You put your name in the prayer and you begin the process of dealing with that problem if that's what you're facing at that time. Both of these books can be ordered. You can request it through my email. My email is emmawalker1228 at gmail.com. And if you order it directly from me, I will sign the book, mail it to you, and and I'll give you a discounted price if you mention this radio station,
All right.
dapowerhouseradio.com. So that's pretty much what I have, unless Lady D has something else for me.
All right. No, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come on the program and sharing your tools and sharing a little bit of what you went through and what assisted you with getting out of that depression, and anything that will assist our listeners um, to get out of depression, or for anyone that they may know that is suffering from depression. We are most definitely here to put it forth. So we here at the Powerhouse Radio, and we here at Victorious, also Reasoning Thursday, we most definitely thank you for your time, and most definitely would invite you back again.
Well,
Did
thank you
Mama
for having
Acid?
me on the program. I really appreciate you inviting me on today. I know this is Mental Health Month, and I'm always interested in helping people rise up out of depression because I know how it kept me down for so many years.
Mm.
Yes, yes. All righty. Mama Acid, Queen, the Respecta,
Yes.
you all have anything you would like to say to
Mama Acid might, because Mama Acid had a couple of questions she wanted to ask her. Did you ask all your questions, Mama Acid?
Yeah, kind of basically, but I just wanted to say thank you, Miss Emma, because it really takes a lot of strength to write down your pain. And I know that it took more than just spending that weekend in the hospital to figure out what you wanted to do. Because I know you were looking at the paper trying to decide what you wanted to do. And I know that all of these different things were part of your divine plan. So thank you so much for telling us about your divine plan and for making sure that people know they cannot leave God out of that plan.
Yes.
And I just wanted to have that. I know Miss Emma. We work together at the school, and she's an awesome individual. And I'm just happy that you were able to come out of that rut, Miss Emma, because looking at you and working with you, you wouldn't know.
It was a long journey.
So whatever you did, I thank God that it worked for you, and I
Yeah.
am glad that you are able to share that with us and the listening audience, and hopefully that they can apply some of your technique to their situation and get the same results that you did. I thank you again for coming on, and we appreciate you.
Thank you all. I appreciate you all. Y'all
You're
have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
the Respecta.
Miss Emma,
Yes.
thank you for coming.
You're welcome, Respecta. Thank you for allowing me to be here, and hopefully someone's heard something that will help them as well.
Would Would you agree that having someone, one person in your life, that could help strongly depression?
I agree.
All
Just
right.
that you get that one strong person who's going to help you get through it. Yes, you can make it through. You can make it through.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Walker, Miss Emma Walker. And the book is Depression No More. You can purchase it through Arthur House, or you can go through Emma Walker 1228 gmail.com, and she will find the book and also give you a nice little discount. All right. He just mentioned the Powerhouse Radio. Thank you so much once again, Miss Emma. Be
You're
blessed.
welcome. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Thank
All
you.
right, you too. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna move on in our reasoning, and let's just touch briefly before we go to the. You want to go to the digital currency, or we want to talk about what's going on in Florida?
We should talk about what's going on with the prime minister getting a raise first.
All right. Yes.
Gee.
Go ahead.
Oh
Let's touch that.
man.
Let's touch that. We're gonna touch and go. So go ahead. Let's touch that. What's going on with that 200% raise that someone is getting over there?
Well, he's getting more than 200. Well, he's getting 200%. The governor general is getting 300%. And his cabinet members and the House of Parliament, they all are getting 100%. Now, the folks that are with the police, they're saying that, well, they got 100% raise the other day. So what happened to the others? What happened to the teachers?
It's an atrocity.
They only got a minimum of their funding. Also, what happened to the soldiers? The soldiers, they still did not get their increment yet. What happened to all the other public
Nurses.
servants?
Nurse.
So they're saying more or less that well, this one particular individual, Dr. Andre Houston, and Dr. Andre Houston, he is a member of the People's National Party. He's a member of that. And he was a guest on Andre's show last night, and he made some very, very important reasoning. He said that the Minister of Education, he gave himself a contract, so he already got his money, because you're not supposed to uh, do private contract when you're a member of the government, but he did. Okay, so he got his money through a private contract, which he built a building, a hotel, and evidently he make it seem like it was for his cousin and not him or one of his family members. So now they're finding out that it belonged to him. So he got his partner draw. Then they're saying that hold on one second, I have some notes here. This increase in salary, what will happen is that it will increase the taxpayers' money. Folks in Jamaica, they're the one that will be suffering because they're going to have to pay taxes to cover
Okay,
these increases.
okay. All right. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I must. Because yes, we know about all these increases because it's been all over the news, all of that. What is Jamaican people doing about it? Are they going to take this laying down where the teachers and the policemen and all of these civil service people is not being compensated, but yet the government, which should be the last ones to get any raise, what is Jamaican people
No,
doing
but
about
they're
more
in
than that?
terror. They're terror one. The prime minister and all of those people I mentioned, they're terror one. So they're gonna get paid before everybody else get
Wait,
paid.
what
Now,
what is
mhm,
people
they are
doing?
trying to do something about it. Let me go on real quick. I'm gonna do it quick. The UIC, it's a organization, and what they do, they get funding from that's where they get funding from people all over. And this money is supposed to be used to finance the candidates that are running for the positions that are coming up because we're gonna have an election coming up soon. Okay, so that's what all of this whoopla is all about, the election that is coming up. So now this UIC is supposed to fund these people. Now they're finding out that this individual, Patterson, Joseph Patterson, he is not using the money for what it's supposed to be used for. So now they're planning to go out and march. They're trying to rally. They try to get Andre to go out to start the march, but he said no. So now they're calling on the members of all of these uh, 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 um, um, programs to come out and march. The head of the police department, the head of the nursing department, the head of the teachers union, all of these, they're trying to get them to come out and to rally these
Wasn't the
folks to come
UIC,
out and demonstrate.
isn't the UIC the other party that they were forming?
No,
Oh,
this is a part, this is a group that was formed. This is an organization that was formed, and it was the first people who, let me see, the first people who started this program, they were doing what it's supposed to, what it was intended to do. And that's why we didn't have too much problem with the elections that they had in the past. But for some reason, this individual that took over, this Joseph Patterson, he is not using the money. He said he gonna give him some curry goat, some rum, and some boom, and that's all they need.
wait a
But this organization, they're fighting against it, so they're trying to rally all the workers in Jamaica to come out and to rally.
I'm kind of lost, but I'm going to research it because I thought the UIC was the other party that wears the blue that was going up against the PNP and the JLP, and and the person who was running for prime minister under the UIC
Is who?
was the Patterson guy, and they were saying that he was um
He is in charge of it. Patterson now is in charge. Before it was, I'm trying to find that guy's name because I did write it down. He was the one, boom, boom. What's his name? Bowie or something like that. He was the one who was in charge before, and he he's. Oh Lordy, I think you have to go to an election in order for you to get into that, to be the leader of this group or what have you. And evidently I'm
Okay,
trying to find that man's name. Any evidence? Okay, Baba Tunji. Baba Tunji was the individual who was the first president for this group. What happened? Evidently, I did not hear what happened to Baba Tunji, but something transpired, and now Joseph Patterson is in charge of that group. And the goal of the group, from what I understood yesterday when I was watching this podcast, was that the goal of the group was to help the individuals that was running for government. See what I'm saying? But the money that is being allocated is not going to where it's supposed to go to. Instead, it's going to it's being spent frivolously. So there is no one there really to stand up for these workers. You see what I'm saying? Because that money, that's what that money's supposed to do. They supposed to, I guess, give it to whoever is running, and they in turn supposed to boost up the morale in the people and what
Okay.
have you, and that's not happening. So it's like everything is on a standstill. So they're trying to people's boost people up so they can, because they're saying that's what the JLP party is doing.
Okay.
They're already
All right.
doing it.
What we need to
So
do, we need to research a little bit more into the group
yeah, but this is a
and the
PMP
salary.
thing, Diane. This is not a JLP thing. This group is part of the PMP.
No, no, no. Listen, listen. What I'm saying to you is because I'm reading the
Hmm.
UIC, or United Independent Congress of Jamaica, is a national liberation movement and the official third political party in Jamaica. It is registered on under the founder and president Joseph L. Patterson, and that's the name that you were calling Joseph
Joseph Patterson,
Patterson.
yes.
They
But
are
they're not using it for it's not. Remember what we did this a couple of months back where we talked about these parties, and remember that party was not in existence anymore because they could not get, I guess, the stuff that they needed in order to be considered as a party. So they're not really a party anymore. But what they're doing now, from what I gathered last night listening, is that they're more or less now there with the PMP to boost the morale of the PMP party, the people in the PMP party. That's what I'm gathering from what they were saying
okay.
last night.
We
Why?
could look into
Why?
it a little bit more. The respect to you
Yeah.
saying something, or Mama Acid.
Uh, wouldn't it make more sense to give that money to poor people, help poor people?
Well,
I mean,
somebody said that too last night. Yes, somebody said that too.
government, the government officials, the prime minister and all of them, they know better than the scammers. They're worse than scammers.
Almost
But they,
definitely.
they're rich and they're still taking a raise on top of all they got instead of giving it to the poor people. No.
Lady D and Mama Acid, I sent you all that link last night
Okay.
with Dr. Austin. Yes, I sent you the link last night
Yeah, I
where they
did.
had a conversation.
To be quite honest, I did. I was watching the program
Hmm.
with Dr. Houston,
Yes,
and listening into the individuals that were calling in, ex-
right.
and yeah, he's a very astute man.
Hmm.
Um, we'll get more into the salary increases, and my thing in regards to that is, what is the Jamaican people doing? All they do is laba laba them mouth, and none of them does nothing. So
Well,
there, these disadvantages that is happening is going to continue to happen because there's no one there, no one in Jamaica to do the serious protests. The time they call in Andrew to do it, they'll do it themselves. Donna says,
well, that's what Andrew said.
they are the scammers. Yeah, the government is the scammers. That's how we see it. That's how we're.
Well, you know what they're saying, what some of the people are saying, they're saying there should be a sanction for the misbehavior and the corruption of those people. If you're going to give them an increase, there should be sanctions on them, there should be an evaluation done yearly, and then there should be sanction for their misbehavior and corruption.
Exactly, because with Jamaica's travel warning being at do not, the government, the American government is saying to persons, do not travel at all to Jamaica. Yes, there was warnings before and things such as, but this is they got a full three on this. You know, they got a full three on this, and we can go over what some of these letters mean, and the places that they're saying do not go to.
Like,
Um,
don't go to Buckfield. Who
Sent
is not going to go to Buckfield if you go into Ocho Rios? You got to pass through Buckfield in order to get into, I
and
hate to say it, in order to get
it
into
is
to get to the other side of the island.
it is advised that we do not go to St. Anne's Parish, do not travel Steer Town and the Buckfield neighborhood near Ocherias.
And they have said
And
Brownstown. Don't go to
Montego Bay.
Brownstown.
No, I'm reading directly from the website right now. They says violence and shootings occur weekly in many neighborhood, community, and parishes in Jamaica. U.S. government personnel are prohibited from traveling to the following areas of Jamaica due to crime. St. Anne's, it says do not travel. Steertown and the Buckfield neighborhood near Ocherias. St. Catherine Parish, do not travel. Spanish Town, Central Village, areas within Portmore, including Nagahead, Newland, Old Brayton, Portmore Lane, Gregory Park, and Waterford. All of Clarendon Parish, do not travel. All of Clarendon Parish, except passing through Clarendon Parish using the T1 and the A2 highway. St. Elizabeth Parish, do not travel. Vineyard neighborhood near Alligator Pond. Hanover Parish, do not travel. Longwood,
That's Black River.
Bay,
Mhm.
Longwood and Orange Bay. St. James Parish, Montego Bay, do not travel.
That's what I can't understand. The airport is there. I mean,
All of Montego Bay
Even Green
on the
Isle, you
island,
can't go through there in order to get to Negril.
all of Montego Bay on the inland side of the A1 highway and the Queens Drive from San Fran to Harmony Beach Park. Kingston and St. Andrews Parish, do not travel. Cassava Peace, downtown
so
Kingston,
that the whole daggone island.
Fine as between Mountain View Avenue and
Well,
Hagley
you can
Park
still go to
Road,
Bobo Camp in St.
and
Thomas.
south of Halfway Tree and Old Hope Road, downtown Kingston, including Arnett Gardens, Cockburn Gardens, Denham Town, Olympic Gardens, Seaview Gardens, Frenchtown, and Tivoli, Duane Park, Grand Spence, Standpipe, Swallow Field, Elliston Flats, and
Lady, that's the whole island.
Manchester, do not travel. Greenvale,
No, in
Red Ground,
Westmoreland, they don't tell you don't go to
Red
Negril.
Ground, and Vineyard neighborhood of Mandeville. St. Thomas Parish, do not travel in Black Lane neighborhood in Seaport. Grand Spen, Church Corner neighborhood near Yalis, town of Yalis, except when driving through on the main highway. Trelawney Parish, do not travel. Clarkston,
Lady, enough.
Westmoreland.
Enough. That's what I'm saying to
No, no,
her.
no.
The whole island.
One more. Westmoreland, do not travel.
Let her finish.
Russian
Notice there's two
community,
places she didn't tell you that you can't
Russian
go.
community in Savlamar, the southeastern quadrant of Savlamar, east of Darling Street and south of the A2 Highway Barracks Road, Morgan Bay, Kings Valley, the Whitehall, Bethel Town, and Red Ground neighborhoods of Nick.
Whitehall used to
Notice
be
you can go to
residential.
Negril.
Oh,
You
Whitehall
can
used to be residential.
you
Gone.
can go to Negril and you can go to Bull Beach.
And they're also
Lady,
advising persons to be careful at the resorts as well, because there have been an uptick in armed robbery, sexual assault being happening at some of the resorts as well.
Lady, you know what I want to know? Who is giving these statistics? Is it Jamaicans? Is it Americans? Who is doing this? Who is going through the old country
That
and
comes from the
finding these
consulate.
areas?
That comes from the consulate in the country. They take the crime statistics weekly and they ship them to the Department of State. That's part of their job.
Oh, okay.
When is the
Level
election?
3 is real bad for us to have to reconsider travel. What does that do to the economy? What does that do to
Hey.
tourists? The money that
But wait, Lady D, wait, one thing you did not mention, okay? And I know the Respecter is not going to like it when I say this. Respecter, please don't get mad with me. They did not say white people don't come off cruise ships because the island is 100% open to you. But if you're
Oh,
a black
You know what?
tourist,
You know
if
what?
you're a black tourist, don't come
You
because
know
we
what?
don't want you here
You know what?
adding to the population problems.
I've been trying to hit him for a few minutes now. You know what? First of all, I was trying to say, when is the election?
the election
Yeah,
is
that's
coming up
what
in another 2 years.
it hasn't been called.
another thing
It
that
hasn't been called, but they said from what I mean, what they're trying to get it in another two
They
years or
can't
so.
call the election because they haven't
All right,
figured out.
let the Respecter talk. Go ahead, the Respecter.
another thing that came to mind is the lockdown. Because it seemed like
State of emergency in different places on the island, right?
yeah,
Overlapping state of emergencies too. You talking about the overlapping ones that's still going on right now?
Can we let the
It is
Respecter
wicked.
complete his
It's
thought?
wicked. And I think people are foolish that no one is going to recognize what they're really trying to do. You know, they're doing this for some political reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to benefit white people and Chinese. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they're planning, section off, is going to benefit the Chinese and white people. And as many black people as possible that's going to get killed along the way and swept away without no one knowing. It's sad, man. It's sad.
But it's not just Jamaica, you know. It's happening
No,
right here.
wait 1 second,
It,
Queenie.
okay.
Respecter, the Respecter. I got to say this to you.
Yes, it's not just Jamaica.
The Respecter. I want to say this to you,
Right
okay?
now they're starting.
I want to go back to what you said. I definitely want to respond to what you said. I need to respond to what you said. You said it sounds like they are setting Jamaica up for a test tube. They are locking Jamaica down. Guess what? They are. They're doing it with the currency. Okay, that's where we're going next. And it's amazing that you pulled it out of thin air like that, because guess what? That whole currency scheme, they trying to get it to work through CARICOM, but the reason they won't do it is because every other financial office on every other island has already seen that it is a failing scheme, and all it is doing is collecting the currency and earnings of everybody in order to put the black market out of business. Now, whenever you're ready, Lady D, we can really get into some dirt now.
And you know what? You know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say this. I was gonna say that they do this not just in Jamaica, but right here in Georgia, they're doing it now. They're trying, since they started to build that belt line, they started to move the blacks out of these areas, and they're moving the whites in. If my side where my house is, that whole side, I remember it was just blacks around there. The other day I finally went to the house, it's all white in the back. They're slowly moving up, moving in, and they create crime. They let you kill off each other, and then they move in. And that's the same thing going on in Jamaica.
It is called over here. It is called gentrification. But let's
Okay.
digital currency.
Okay. Okay.
So the Prime Minister said that they want to essentially ban cash and move on to a digital money system, or CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. There are some things you need to know. Just like COVID, when you had some common sense questions, but the media and the government never entertained none of those questions. Same thing now. These are the things that they won't talk about. First of all, under CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, you will not be able to ever pull your money out of the bank. The money will be in the bank and always in the bank or in the BOJ coffers, right? So all that 5, 20, 10, 20, whatever years you've been working, all the money you save, you will never be able to take it out and spend it as you wish. The money also will be programmable, meaning they can program who you spend it with, how you spend it, where you spend it, right? The money can be tied to geographical locations, technically. So if they want to say your money can't spend outside of Portland, you go outside of Portland, the money can't spend because it's geographically tied, right? So if they say pandemic and say you can't move from here to there, literally if you go over there, so money can't use. The money will be able to expire. They can program it to expire. So in other words, whatever you work and say you get $100,000, the money can set to expire in a year, 5 months, whatever, right? They can decide who you spend the money with. So for example, they blacklist me and say nobody can do no business with me. When you try to spend money with me, it cannot go through, right? This system has so many dangers. Look here. In Canada, some time ago, about 90% of the truckers, people who drive truck all over Canada, took the vaccine. Yeah? Now, only 10% never take it. And the 10% say, why should we take it? We not handle nothing, we not touch nobody, we just drive the truck and somebody take the things out of the truck, right? Then protest this 10% of truckers, and it was going on good. You know what Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, did? He just beep, turn off their money. And all of a sudden, none of the truckers could eat, they couldn't buy gas, they couldn't lodge themselves in a hotel, they couldn't do nothing. Right? This is a danger. This is dangerous. Right? The money is so programmable that the government will be able to know every single cent you spend. Every cent. So if I transfer 1 cent to you, the government knows. The government knows who you spend with, when you spend, how you spend, everything. Just something that you need to know. That they will not entertain, they will not discuss. I'll tell you more about it as time goes on.
All right. Well, that's deep. That you won't even have, it's alleged that you won't have any form of control over your money, whom you spend it with. If this digital currency comes along and really is passed and being used in Jamaica, here in America, I guess the gentleman is trying to say that it's being used in Canada right now. Um, that's some serious thing for you, man.
No, that's not what he's saying about Canada. What he's saying about Canada is that it's linked directly to you as a person, your amount of money that you have, your wealth. And when this government decides they don't want you to use it, they can make it so that you as a person cannot spend money anywhere. Your money, you can't spend it because you will go someplace to try and use your money. And when you put your credit card in, it will automatically flash up a government warning saying that they cannot accept any payments or any currency exchange from you. So the only way you could do anything is to do it on the black market. And if they wipe out the black market by swooping up all the currency, there's no black market even to use. That means you can't eat, just like he said, you can't get someplace to stay, you can't buy petrol for your truck. What are you going to do? Not
What
going to do nothing.
They're
that's
finding
that's
another way to wipe out black people.
that's some serious business right there.
Okay, let me tell you why this is happening and that it is already in place in America. Social Security. Here's one of the things that they started converting people from paper checks. So they said if you're a new Social Security recipient, you cannot get a paper check. You have to have a plastic card. The reason they have a plastic card system is because it allows them instant auditing and control. The control features include usability, just like he said. The usability factor is the most important one because, like it's just said, if you're in Hanover and you want to get some money to go to Kingston, you won't unless you got cash in your pocket, you won't be able to pay somebody Bandulu to even carry you. because you can't use your money. You can't use your money or nothing on the bus because they're going to be on the same currency system. You can't stay at a hotel because they're going to be on the same currency system. And the only currency you got is the currency that's being tracked. So even if you try and use it, they're going to know where you used it at because the currency itself has its own chip in it. So there's no way to hide it. And right now, the way that McCarthy is claiming that they don't want to raise the debt ceiling, but under the 14th Amendment, they have no choice. They have to do it. They're playing this game in order to stretch out the interest. So my question earlier this week was about how much money they're making on the amount of debt that they're holding back. And it appears that they might be making a couple $1,000,000 every day in just the question period. And what I mean when I say that is that they have ways of being able to make money off the debt. So the largest portion of debt is owned by the Chinese. Now, Lady D, we getting into your area where you want to talk about these people down south and they call them illegals. Okay, so in Jamaica, something happened a couple years ago that we talk about quite frequently on the show, but we talk about it in a different way. The Chinese and debt control, assets and leverage. Jamaica's currency system is presently all backed by leveraged money, which means that it came from the World Bank. The prime minister signed for the money without a single question or answer being submitted to a single member of parliament, or for that matter, the general public. So people in Jamaica didn't even know how much money he was signing for or what it was going to cost. It added on to the vampire debt that still exists within Jamaica, which is still pushing Jamaica way over the top of the edge for the even just the question of how much vampire debt Jamaica owes now. Can you imagine Jamaica owing $3 trillion in debt? $3 trillion. Jamaica owes $3 trillion to the World Bank. Actually, more than that, because they also owe roughly about 2 or 300 billion to the Chinese for technical assistance. When I saw that, I really had to dig further, and I am right now digging. I am not doing it myself. We have other people who are digging into that contract, and we are trying to get some information about the contract itself, including who in the government and parliament signed it. Because we have been
But what's the big deal with that?
Yeah, okay, they did it. They did it, and they never said anything about it. So when the Chinese made this agreement with Jamaica in order to come in and offer some assistance to build the roads and technical assistance, that's what they said. They said that nobody knew what that meant because it was an open line item. When you let the Chinese use language like that, that is open instead of a closed direct item, the Chinese can expand it in any way they want. So one of the issues that came up last week was Queen talking about these people in England who brought this man because they wanted to get his kidney to give to their daughter.
Yeah.
Body smugglers from Africa.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Yeah.
Chinese people are coming to Jamaica in record numbers now. Some of them came and they brought their own private dialysis technicians and machines with them for their hospital that they have. And the funny thing is, we see the Chinese come in, but we never know where they go because we don't see them sightseeing in Jamaica.
Mama,
and well, and in addition to that, okay, Donna's question about where the body's going, and my question about where the body's going. Nobody in Parliament wants to answer that question. Not a person in the security area or the apparatus for the country wants to answer it. General Lewin didn't want to answer it. And right now, Jamaica's 16% over last year's murder count, body counters. I'm gonna start making it because they can't really accurately count how many people died last year because some of them they never recovered the bodies. So if they don't recover the body, they don't accurately count it as a death. Now that in itself is the most absurd piece of crap I have ever heard. But that's about the Donna Lee thing, and I hope that Queen plans to follow up a little bit more on the Donna Lee thing because that links back into some other things like who's really on the island investigating any type of death, or who are these crime technician people who come out and what are their qualifications, and why is it that Jamaica's crime lab, which was just set up in Jamaica, is still sending samples to Miami, which really kind of blew my mind because they send the samples to Miami because they claim that they don't have all of the equipment that they need. One of the samples they sent was a DNA sample. And the reason it bothers me is because DNA should never leave the chain of custody that's going to be attributed to court if it's a murder. Because if it leaves, that adds questions to the chain of custody. I don't care if it is the FBI hand carrying it or, somebody from the JDF hand carrying it. The point is it should not leave Jamaica. And if they don't have a DNA tester in Jamaica, they should be able to get that with the amount of murders and deaths that have been created on that island. And I said created. Yes, I did say created.
Okay. Donna says they are protecting the heist money and our stolen estates under digital technology.
She's
She
right.
also says, I want to know where they got so much millions and billions from all of a sudden.
The Chinese she's talking about, or who?
Donna, please tell us. Mama Acid is asking whom you're saying. Is it Chinese or is it the government?
Yeah.
I think most likely it's the government because we were talking about the government.
Well, Mr. Chin told me about the discussion last night because he was live in the discussion and we've been having conversation on Twitter back and forth. He's been telling me a lot about these constitutional conversations that they've been having when they have these meetings. And he said that not everybody attends the meetings. Mostly the shadow parliament is at the meetings and they make a point of letting only the people who are directly affecting that decision actually be involved in the meeting and making the decisions.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this part.
Wait, the Respecta said something.
Go ahead, the Respecta. Because
Lord Jesus Christ.
Ooh, stop! Don't bleed out the God name in vain. Donna says the worldwide government.
It's not in vain.
Donna says the worldwide government is
what I want to say is what's the big deal with Jamaica owing so much money when America have 30 trillion in deficit?
A little bit more than that.
From this money in the world.
Yes.
Not only that, a lot of these bodies, there's a possibility there's labs throughout Jamaica and other places where what seems to be dead bodies are being shipped to be cloned and come back as someone different.
Okay, that's you and Donna. That's you and Donna.
What you just listen? What you just said? It is 9:55.
Lady D.
Yes.
Lady D, please don't. Okay, let us get to the next thing that we need to talk about because we only got 5 minutes, and it's really important.
All right,
Florida. Okay. Let me serve it up. I want to serve this one up.
Wait a minute. Before you serve it, go ahead, serve it, and then I'm gonna play the recording.
Mr. DeSantis, if you think that we don't know that your parents and your grandparents were illegal aliens for 16 years before they became American citizens down in Florida, that's only one of the nasty little things that we got out from under that bed with all them cobwebs under there with you and Casey.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Exactly. If you are undocumented, but you have a driver's license from a different state, it doesn't matter. Florida will not recognize that driver's license. And if you come into Florida, you can get pulled over and you can get sent to jail. So that means truckers that have CDLs that are undocumented can't come into Florida. So they're not going to come. It also states that you cannot be in a car with a person that is undocumented. You can't drive them around. So that means Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, taxis and bus drivers can now ask people for their papers. Because ultimately, if they drive an undocumented person, they can get in trouble. So now we're going to have random people out here just on the basis of your skin color or the accent harass you about papers in Florida. They can't get in the car with their family members if they're undocumented. And people are wondering why all of a sudden all these migrant people are leaving Florida, because the law doesn't take effect in July. They need time to leave. They don't want to be here in July when it does go into effect. And this shit is starting to affect us. Hotels can't keep staff. Restaurants can't keep staff. Walt Disney's reservations are down. The convention centers that have, conventions throughout the summer from all companies around the world is down. That subsequently affects the businesses around these conventions, like the small businesses, the restaurants, the Airbnbs. All that shit is down now. The cancellations in Florida is ridiculous right now. I just saw a TikTok of a person who had 5,000 people were supposed to come to Florida for a work conference. They just canceled that shit because it's not safe here. And all these Floridians like, well, that's okay. Let them go. Let them go. We don't want illegals here. You don't see them rushing. You don't see them rushing to go get the jobs. They don't want to work in the fields. They don't want to be a maid. They don't want to work in the hotels. They don't want to do service jobs. And these undocumented people, they really don't want to do those jobs either. But those are the only jobs that they can get because they know they're getting exploited because they're undocumented. Not to even mention there's 800,000 undocumented people in Florida. 51,000 of them are Asian. Everybody thinks it's just people from Mexico that are undocumented. Not true. And these people are leaving too. And they're not just leaving themselves, their entire family is leaving. The tax consequences for this is going to be unreal. Where is DeSantis going to get all this tax money from? Where? How are you going to do it? And then on top of that, ask for 12 million or 12 billion, I can't remember, so that he could deport people. Well, where are you getting this money from? But yeah, war and woke. DeSantis has shot himself in the foot. Watch the Florida economy fall. So as you can see, these are the farms, the strawberry farms, and there is nobody there. Then look at the construction. There are no construction workers. They all did not show up because of this new law, this new immigration law. You could see all these unfinished houses in these developments. No workers.
All right. So they are it is being it's alleged and it's being said that if you are in a car with someone that is undocumented, then it's an issue. Then you run the risk of being prosecuted, being charged. Um you know, hiring the individuals. It's a lot going on, and that's some serious business right there. Donna says they're not all people. Lord, the Respecta, don't even start Donna up. Don't start Donna up. But yeah, it is some serious thing of what's going on because that's also going to affect us with food, homes being built. It's it's a sad thing going on down there in Florida.
But can I say this?
Yeah.
Some of those Floridians,
Mhm.
they get what they deserve because they vote him in there. They had someone that was of decency, a godly man, and they went against him. So what? It's gonna be happening in every state, one state at a time. Pretty soon, America's not gonna be what America's supposed to be. That's why I told my children don't have no more kids. Don't have no kids.
I love you, Dada. Love you, Dada. Dada, I have Dada here laughing. Yeah. Queen, you want to say anything in regards to this?
Well, I don't know. I don't think y'all hearing me. I've been talking for a while now.
No,
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay. I was gonna tell you that there's a thing called the algebra rhythm, and next week we can touch on that because that also shows you a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Jamaica is what they call under the bottom. They are the lesser developed country. Okay, America, because they have a 3 or below, a 300 or below. America is considered one of the upper tier because they have a 500
Okay,
or more.
are we going on, or is this in regards to the digital currency? Is what
This is in regard to all a lot of stuff that is going on there,
okay,
and
well, with
the
the minimum,
countries that are feeling they are more powerful than others, and the reason why they can do certain things and get away with it. But I think we can touch this next week because it's a long
yes,
discussion, and I didn't really get to really introduce it to you guys because Miss Emma took quite a bit. So next week we can go into this, and I'll refresh y'all memory about it. Okay, lady, I'll send you the clip
okay, all
about this, and Acid, and my brother. I'll send it to you guys. Okay, but it's deep, and if you listen to this,
right, okay.
you will see
So,
why a lot of the issues are coming up and why a lot of the problems are coming up.
all right, Acid, your take on what's going on in Florida. We'll visit this with Queen next week.
The
Yeah.
way money flows in Florida is not from paychecks. There is no income tax in Florida. Money comes from purchases. So whatever you purchase has a tax on it. That's everything. Florida has more toll roads than any part of the country. They have more toll roads in Florida than they do in New York. And New York is almost all toll roads. And then another thing about Florida is that Florida requires taxes on things that you usually wouldn't have tax on, like your house insurance.
As quick as
Like,
possible. Yeah.
why would you pay tax on your house insurance?
Hmm.
So, your house insurance in Florida has to include flood and hurricane insurance. It has
Yeah.
to include wind damage insurance. So, if you got a house that's a little bitty, little, not real expensive, $150,000 house, which is a lot of money, that house is going to cost you upwards of almost $5,000 to $10,000 a year to insure it. That's not including your taxes because you got to pay taxes on top of that. Plus, you got to pay maintenance fees.
Okay. All right. Well, it's we will continue to watch and see what's going on with Florida and the
Oh,
Florida
one
economy.
one other
And
thing.
uh-huh.
These people that are not going to work. Florida started out this building boom right after COVID restrictions ended. And they were having everybody who could do something do something. So you didn't have to have your papers checked. You could just go and work. And they hired a lot of day laborers. They would not hire the Haitians. They wouldn't hire any of the Africans, but they hired the Dominicans, and which was funny to me, but they hired the Dominicans, the Mexicans, the people, anybody that spoke Spanish, you could get a job. So all of a sudden, the people who were in the unions and the people who were already there working in construction started to notice that they're having to actually take cuts on what they're used to being paid because you got all of these non-union people doing jobs that used to only be done by the union, and they causing a lot of problems. So someone linked this back earlier this week, the discussion of it, with DeSantis having these people that are uncertified out there building these buildings, like the buildings that collapsed in Miami. They were built during the same time period before they regulated who could work in the construction industry, and they tightened up all the regulations at a certain point because they had deregulated. Florida was just gone buck wild. So once they tightened it back up, they had to understand that the amount of money they were spending, they had to ensure that they were going to get this money out. So Florida unionized in a few places. And FYI, Disney just unionized. By the same token, when DeSantis pissed them off this past week, DeSantis made them make a major decision, which cost Florida a whole lot of money, more than $1 billion. This move was going to be all of these people were going to work in Florida. They were going to relocate all these people to Florida and build one whole office building in Florida that was in California, and they were going to bring all these people there. Now, that means that the people in California are going to get to stay in California until they decide where else they're going to build this building. So Disney is making their decision on what they're going to do about Ron DeSantis right now. And they haven't decided that they're going to partner up with the Democrats. But DeSantis is taking so much money from Disney right now with all these things he's doing. Like he announced yesterday, he was going to make the monorail have to go through the same daily inspection that they do for all the monorails all over Florida. And the only other place where there are monorails in Florida are in Miami, and they run downtown in Miami. So every day they have to inspect the monorails downtown in Miami. They have a resident engineer who does it. That's his job. He stays there. So now they're going to have one in Disney World. So he's calling for them to hire a resident engineer when they already have one.
Okay, well, I don't want to see what's going to happen to the crops that we get from.
They are not picking strawberries. They are not picking citrus.
Anything. So I could see that it's not just going to be a.
They're not fishing.
Well, y'all stay there. Right now, they have some robots already there that they're programming and working with. Like my girl told me, one of my Lyft driver, she said, "Sis, I work for Walmart, and in my store, we don't have any cashiers. All of the
checkouts."
That's what she said. She said it's all electronics. And she said that's what's happening, sis. She said soon. So I said, so how you gonna get paid, you workers? She said, well, we'll be home on the computer, I guess.
Everybody is moving to electronic pay. That's why I was saying earlier. All money is going to be electronic. So this is what they're doing in order to try to combat the amount of money that's being stolen in Jamaica. We didn't get to that part. So next week we have to really fully get into currency.
We'll get
so next week.
One moment. We're going to get back into the digital currency because we keep going back instead of staying on track. So Donna says, where are they getting these development materials from? She puts they have developed high rises all over the world. Okay. We'll continue the digital currency next week, and we just
and Florida's economy
what's going on, and we could continue that as well next week.
And put the algorithm on it because it's deep.
I already have that.
You have it? Okay.
We need to look for the trickling effect of that, because if they don't have those workers with those crops that we need from down there, then to supply the supermarkets up here in Georgia, the cost once again is going to go up for food and for basic necessities. But I apologize, not able to open the lines today because we totally went over, and I'm going to definitely keep a grip of this time for next week. And although we did start a little late as well. So we just want to thank each and every one for joining us today as we reasoned on the different topics of what are we eating. We got to make sure we know what's in our food, because right now PSA is going around ground beef. They're using ammonia. So a way to kind of this to change that is maybe when you go and you buy your steaks, you could get your steaks to be grounded into
Mm-hmm.
ground beef so that way you know exactly what you're getting. Travel warning in Jamaica. If you're not afraid and you come from where you come from and you do what you do, you continue to do what you do. But still always be mindful of your surroundings, what's going on in the area, and check those resorts that you all as are as well um going to stay, because we cannot live our lives stunted where we can't spread our wings and travel, because crime is everywhere. It's just us being aware of our surrounding and making sure that we take whatever necessary steps to keep ourselves safe. We want to thank Miss Emma Walker for joining us in regards to her book Depression No More. You could purchase it via directly through Miss Emma Walker at Emma Walker 1228 gmail.com, and or you can go through the author house, and with the purchase it directly from her, she will sign the book and give you a discount as well, so you could take it that way. Also this we reasoned on what we said, travel, mental health. We reasoned on digital currency. I think that is something that we definitely have to stay on, and know what is affecting us, and know that we, the people, can make a change. No matter if you're in Jamaica, whatever island, country, America, we people can make a change if we stick, if we definitely stick together, and be mindful, pay attention to your children, love them, embrace them, teach them, and set them on the right track. That is my wish, and I know it's my other host's wish for each and every one of you. Queen, you want to leave out saying something?
Just to say that I've learned a lot. Thank you, Miss Emma. And I'm more mindful of my thoughts and actions in terms of my mental health. So I thank you for that. Also, I want to thank my host, all my hosts, and thank them for the contribution that they gave today. I'm a little off today, so just bear with me. Next week I'll be back on tip top shape. In tip top shape. Um, I love you guys. Just keep on doing what you're doing, and remember, love your neighbors as yourself. And just reach out to the children. Children out there, and they need guidance. It don't have to be your child or your family member. Just reach out to a child out there. Maybe we all need to be mentors. You know what I mean? I think that's a good thing for us to do. Y'all have a blessed night and enjoy the rest of the week.
All right, Mama Acid.
I would just like for everybody to remember that right now there is a war going on in Sudan. There's a war going on in Darfur. There are people being murdered. This was the Nakba in Palestine. It's been going on for 56 years. I don't care what Israel says, it is not a legitimate country. There is a whole lot of people trafficking going on around the world. Please remember, each one of us has a responsibility to do the best we can and to be the best we can. So just show up next week so we can continue this conversation. Much love.
The Respecta.
I'm going to challenge my entertainer friends in Jamaica, the athletes in Jamaica, just the regular citizens in Jamaica, not to be afraid and flood the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Government, a different attitude. Don't be afraid. We can't say we believe in God, Jah, and move with fear.
Yeah.
Government is playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time that Luciana, Bojo, Sizzla, the whole of them step out of their comfort zone and show the people of Jamaica say them have them back. Show the world that Jamaica is Jamaica. The Marines need to come out and for them comfort zone. The so-called other work of them. They have played too much stupidness game. Government is trying to make the people into mockery. And it's been going on for too long. Stop being afraid of Siaga, Manly, because they're not in a power no more. When I fear the wrong people. I want to kill my boy with love. Show him love in a different way. I watch it change come to Jamaica.
All right. All right. Well, we say big shouts and big ups to each and every one. Leaving out comments, Donna says, so many buildings in New York have collapsed. She also said there's a war going on right here. That's why our foods are poisonous. Well, that completes our program. Next week, we will take it back up, algorithm, and we're going to continue on the digital currencies. And also, we're going to continue with what is going on in Florida with the migrants and you, listeners, you know, to be careful on whom you're driving with, where you're going, etc. Well, we thank Victorious Radio once again for streaming us, and we thank each and everyone listening to us via our telephone lines at 667-930-9036, listening to us via our YouTube outlet or our Facebook outlet, Instagram outlet, viewing us via our website www.dapowerhouseradio.com. And we just thank you because you could have been listening to someone else, but you decided to join us. And please check on your one another, check on your friends, your families, your neighbors, because mental health is serious, and it is mental health month, so we will be continuing to reason on mental health for this month. Leaving out with a song done by the Respecta himself. Check it out. Love and all. Be blessed.
You've got to take it serious. You've got to believe the mental problems is a problem. Yes, Babylon, mental sickness, mental disease. You got to believe it's real. You got to know that it's real. Yes, many doctors are trying their best to fix the situation. No help from government. No. Some parents ain't paying attention to the child, their children. Bobby, always locked away in his room. You don't think something could be going on. The way he talk to you, act with you, you don't think he need to be checked out. Yeah. Oh, the Respecta say, open up your eyes, your understanding. If you love and you care, you can fix the situation. Father, mother, brother, sister, teacher, pay more attention to a child, a person. Yeah. Mental sickness, we want it disappear, we want it erased, we want it gone.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
Somehow they get a gun. First thing on their mind, going to school, shooting down to the wall. Yeah, it happened in the churches, it happened in the schools, it happened everywhere.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
That you see,